Today I'm going to demonstrate how to dynamically group a report. I've created a report of jobs that includes my plant, the customer name, and a product code. And it's a very difficult, cumbersome way to look at it. It's messed up that you have Pluto and Mars and then you have Saturn, so there's no real sorting to it. Now I could go in, for example, on the product name and highlight the header, text box, do interactive sorting, and sort on the part number, for example. When I run it, I can now sort the part numbers ascending or descending, but that really doesn't clean the report up any way that I want to see it. I'd like to be able to group it by the plant, by the customer name, and by the product code. So I'm going to take away that sorting I put in here. So I'm going to have three sorts. I'm going to build three parameters. I'm going to call the first parameter first sort, and the prompt will be first sort. I'm not going to do anything else with it at this point. I'm just creating the parameters. A second parameter called second sort, and the prompt will be second sort. Again, nothing else to do with it. And I'm going to create my third parameter, and that will be third sort. Again, not doing anything else to it. When I run the report, I now have my parameters built up here. The next is to create my selection criteria. I've created a SQL table that has the report name, which is the same name that the report has, the parameters, which are the values that are in the data set for the report itself, and the label, which is the friendly name that will show up inside the drop-down box. So the first thing I need to do is create a data set to get these queries. So I'm going to add a data set, and I am going to call this sort parameters. And I'm going to embed this in my report, build. So I'm going to build this, select my server, select my database, where my sort table lives, test the connection, it's all good, and I'm good. The next thing I need to do is make three queries. The first query is for the first sort, the second for the second sort, and obviously the third for the third sort. So I'm going to right click, add a data set, and I am going to call this query first sort. I'm going to use a data set that's embedded in my report, the data set we just created. Pardon as I cheat, I am going to just paste in. So I am going to select the parameters and the label from this table, but I'm doing an R-trim to get rid of all the trailing spaces, and I'm selecting it from the SL report sorts, where the report name equals the name of the report. I'm going to create a second query, and I'm going to call this query second sort. Again, using the data set that's embedded in my report. And again, I'm just trimming the parameter and the label from the same SQL table, taking the dynamic grouping, but I do not want the parameter to equal the value of the first sort. And then I'm going to create my third query. I'm calling it query third sort, again embedding it to the data set I created. And again, I'm selecting the trimmed parameter, the trimmed label from the same table. I want to take the ones that are dynamic grouping. Again, I only want to select the report names that are dynamic grouping. I don't want to worry about my other report right now. And I am saying that the parameter should not include first sort or the second sort. Now I can go up into my parameters and go into the properties. My available values are from a query. I want to use the query first sort. The parameters are the value and the label. Second sort, I want to go into the dataset priorities. I want to go into the parameters of the second sort. My available values are again from a query, and I want the second query. I want the parameter as my value and the label as my label. And I want to also do this with my third. So go back into the parameters, available values from a query, my third query, value as parameter, and label. Now I need to create my groups. Go down to the detail rows, right click on the details, add group as a parent group. Here we're going to go in to the parameters and select first sort. Now we have to put down the word fields, open parenthesis, close the parenthesis, dot value. And I'm going to add a header and a footer. Now I right click on group 1, add a group, a child group. I'm going to use the same logic, parameters. I'm going to grab the second sort. Once again I put the word fields, open paren, at the end close the paren, dot values, value, not values. Again a header and a footer. Go back to details, add a group, go to group 2, add a group, a child group, and I'm going to do the final logic. Again, to go to parameters, take the third sort, again start with the word fields, open paren, close paren, dot value. Again add a header and a footer. Now when I run the report, I get my selections, so I can say I want to see by plant, by customer name, by product code. When I view the report, I've got all my Mars first, followed by inside Mars I have my entertainment, ACM entertainment, and my coat AL. What you're also seeing though is the information has been duplicated. I've got plant, customer, product group. It's taken a lot of real estate on your page. Because these fields are being displayed in the headers, we can go and delete these values. Now when I run the report, I can say plant, customer, and product code. Now when I run, I have the real estate back and I have the names. This gets a little harder to see. My personal opinion is I like to have the plant, the first sort, the second sort, and the third sort in one line and not waste all this space. So what I do, because we create a header at each one, I need to get an expression. But again, I'm going to say fields, and close the paren, dot value. Now when I run the report, I have the name of the plant at the top. So I'm going to repeat this for the other two groups. Expression, parameters of the second sort. Again, the word fields in front. And I'm going to do the third. Again, close parenthesis and that value. So now I have this information, so I can get rid of group 1, 2, and 3 headers. So I'm just going to right click and delete the column again and again. Now when I run the report, I only get the information once. A little bit difficult to see, so what I tend to do is I will make the first one a bit larger. I'm also going to extend these out and merge, and that will keep anything from wrapping. Again, merge, anchor, shift, arrow over, and merge. And then I'll, just to separate things out a little easier, I will put a light color on here, and I will give it a black bottom border. Border style, bottom, solid. Now when I select my values, notice I've got all three of my values. When I go to my second one, I've only got the two remaining, and when I go to the third one, I only have the final value. Run the report, a little bit easier to see. And at this point, if I wanted to, I could do some subtotaling on the product quantity and the quantity complete. And it gives my numbers. Fortunately, it gives so many decimal places. I'm just going to clean that up real quick. Go into number, 0 decimal places. All of these values that I have are 0 digits, 0 decimal places. So I don't want any decimal places, and I want the commas for the thousand separator. And again, when I run the report, I now have a subtotal. For Mars, AMC Entertainment, and Coat AL, I've got my bottom line total. Now my title right now is Jobs. I'd like this to be dynamic. I'd like it to show how I'm sorting. So I'm going to get rid of the word Jobs, and I'm going to create an expression. And I want to say Jobs by space, and I want the first sort. Now it's showing the value of it. I want to change this to label. So just to start you out, if I do customer name, plant, and product code, it's Jobs by customer name. So we'll just continue with the logic, and I want to add by, and the second one is the second sort. Again, take off value and make it label, and one more concatenation, and that would be again by. And finally, again, take off value and put in label. Now when we run the report, the title of the report changes by the order of my selection criteria. And we can shorten the report up because we got the real estate back. If you only have 3 choices, you can have it set up that it will automatically fill in the third sort for you. If you go back into the parameters, and again, this is only if you're using the maximum number. If you have 2 sorts only, again, the second one automatically take the other. In this case, I have 3 sorts only, and I only have 3 choices. So if I go in the parameters and take my default value, I can specify, I can get the values from a query. I want the third sort, and I want the parameter. Now when I run and I say customer name, when I select plant, product code's automatically going to fill in for me. The advantage of not hard coding your parameters are you may want to go in and add one more grouping later. Maybe your customers say that they want one more grouping selection. So we're going to do it by part num. And the label will be part number. Make sure you save your changes. In this case, I'm just going to close the table. Come back in. On each of my data sets, I need to go into the properties and refresh the fields. Now I'll see the part number is one of my values. And do it again. Refresh the fields. Again, refresh the fields. Now when I run, I can say that I want to go by plant, by customer, and group by part number. And now it's a little more lines, but the information is all in. And again, my name changed. I can also run it by part number, by customer, by plant. So this is how you can dynamically group a report by parameters. Thank you.